Welcome back. Save the Children South Africa is optimistic about the public release of the National Register for Sex Offenders, a crucial step towards protecting children and communities from sexual offenders. The organisation believes that publicising the registry will help communities better understand their neighbours and protect their children. However, Save the Children South Africa is cautious that the NRSO alone will not eradicate child sexual abuse, as offenders often hide in plain sight. We now speak to Megan Briede from Save the Children South Africa, Director of Programs, and she joins us now via our video link. Megan, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Let's start off here. Let's get your reaction when it comes to the Department of Justice announcing that the National Register for Sex Offenders will be made public.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. I think that, Save the Children, we focus on promoting the rights and well-being of children, and any action or step taken towards protecting a child will always be welcomed by us. When dealing with the sexual offenders register and becoming public, I think though our only concerns would be that we would need that register to be very comprehensive, up to date and free from errors.
From your perspective, how do you think that this will help protect communities and also safeguard children from abuse?
I think that what we need to acknowledge is this is just one step.
Yeah.
And what it does is it creates awareness within the communities, alerts communities to where potential threats are, and then, of course, encourages joint prevention within that community.
And when it comes to the role, this can play in terms of fighting against child abuse and sexual abuse as well in our communities. Like you say, it's one aspect, but surely this can play a very crucial and important role.
I think, look, it's one step. What is really important to know is that research has shown us that these registers don't necessarily stop abuse from happening. They don't always deter offenders reoffending, but the importance is that as a country it sends a message that we will not accept any kind of abuse against our children, and I think that's more important than anything. But the register needs to be backed up with swift action. We need to have a justice system that's not only about the register, it's about when there are reports, we take them seriously. We investigate swiftly. We have strict sentencing. And of course, we do have rehabilitation programs for offenders, as well as support programs for survivors.
And maybe, looking at the register as a whole and, talking about some other aspects that you think really also are much more important when it comes to dealing, with abuse in our communities. What role can then this register play in highlighting some of the problems that we face as a community, as a nation?
I think the register can be used in numerous ways. So it's not only to alert us where there's an offender, but it's also there to prevent people from being employed in jobs where they are in close contact with children. So we can prevent that reoffending. But very importantly, like I said, it's about the awareness that we need in our communities all the time, that these are real threats to our children. And by us having a register like this, we're acknowledging that threat, and we're showing our commitment towards upholding the rights of our children to protection.
Yeah. How can we encourage, communities, to make use of this register, to also sort of warn them about the people living in their communities?
I think we have to say to communities that when this register is made public, we also have to act with responsibility. We do not want situations where there's retaliation in communities. We know that violent acts are never the solution to another violent act. And we would encourage communities rather to be able to engage with their local authorities if they're concerned about a person in their community. They're able to educate their children about the dangers and how to protect themselves. And I think that's what is most important as a community if you're going to use the register. This should not be about retaliation. This should be about protection.
And what is truly needed really to try and address, the issues in our country, in our communities, when it comes to reducing the rate of abuse, especially abuse on children?
I think it's such a complex question, that because we need to really address the root causes, and very often that comes from childhood and deep-seated trauma that many people in our communities experience, coupled with issues of substance abuse. So it's highly complex, but we do as a country need to invest in social behaviour change programs, so prevention programs. We're at a young age where we're identifying young people who might be in trouble, who might, have deviant behaviours that you're wanting to address. And then, of course, as a country, we have to improve on our counselling, our therapeutic services to really address these issues before they become highly problematic for the individual.
Yeah. And just lastly, before I let you go, what is your advice to some of our community members, who don't know about, this register, which is now going to be made public to South Africans?
I think the most important thing, always just advice, is as parents we need to remain vigilant. We always need to know where our children are, where they're going and what they're doing. We need to not think that just because we know our neighbours or we believe we know our neighbours, our children are safe, or even that we know our closest friends, that our children are safe with them. So it's highly important that we're always vigilant to where our children are, we're checking in and we're developing those relationships where they can easily communicate to us if they feel any discomfort, either with somebody who's known to the family or somebody who's not. And I think that the register is just one more step for you as a parent to be able to make sure that you're leaving your children in safe hands when you are not able to be there.
All right, Megan, thank you so much for your time and for that
very important
insight. That is Megan Briede. She is the Director of Programs for Save the Children South Africa.